down. They're just getting started. This is South Coast Tonight with Chris McCarthy and Marcus Farrow. They've got you covered on all the news of the day, from local issues to politics on both sides of the aisle. This is the place where the movers and shakers come to be heard, to listen, and where they're held accountable. This is South Coast Tonight on WBSM.
Good evening. Welcome to South Coast Night. I'm Chris McCarthy. As always, Marcus Farrow's holding the fort down.
Hey.
We have a very interesting show tonight.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice. We've been having a very nice off-air discussion with our guest, and we'll introduce you to him in a bit here. Obviously, Marcus, Ward 3.
Yes.
That's a big thing for us. I know Barry's show had a number of people calling in about that.
Yeah.
About Ward 3. And so we can see that the momentum is picking up in the city. People are interested.
And here's the thing. There's going to be, in this special election, a limited number of people that are going to decide who the next Ward 3 city council is going to be.
Right.
I ran Hugh Dunn's city council campaign back in 2017. Yeah, it's me. So it's all my fault. And about 700, I looked at the numbers again, about 700 people showed up to that special election, general election. Now, it was raining that day, which matters, but the thing is when you've got people in a special election, those people are civically engaged, which means they're listening to WBSM.
Correct.
They're reading the paper.
Yes.
They know the issue, and they know what's going on. That's why we want to have all the candidates on. We've had a couple on so far, and we have another candidate with us today, Robert Cabral. Hey, Robert, how you doing?
Good. How you doing today?
Good. Thanks for joining us. So let's get started with, introducing yourself and telling us why you decided to run for Ward 3 City Council.
Well, I'm 40-year manager and a leader with a focus on customer service. 30 years as a businessman, a retailer with new construction, doing fireplaces, working with contractors and homeowners. 10 years as a National Guard officer. The people out there, I think they want some change. The number one priority I'm hearing is customer service. And when I say customer service, it means constituent service.
Let me just help you out. You want to stay right here. I know it's weird to want to look at us, but just talk into the microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, much better, right?
So, I'm all about old-fashioned customer service. I'm the guy that's screaming at the answer machine, the customer service machine, saying, "Hey, customer service!" That's me, because I'm used to talking to people. Nowadays, you can't even talk to anybody. So, I was out there.
But you do have to talk into the microphone.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was out there today, and that was the number one complaint.
So you started your campaign getting signatures today.
Oh, it was an exciting day, with the exception of the physical that I went to early this morning.
Fun.
I went down and I grabbed my papers. I saw 7 names on the list, which was pretty exciting. Now we need to get some of our citizens involved. We need more than just a 5% turnout.
Right.
And I saw that out of the 7 names on that list, most of them had heart. So most of them just want to come here and make a difference. So This is going to be an exciting campaign. I ordered signs. I ordered door hangers. I ordered handouts. I went knocking. I would have kept knocking, but it started raining, so I even got 10 signatures. And more importantly, I got my first $50 donation. So
fantastic.
We are moving. So, it's nice because I'm in a position right now where I can't win unless I go at this full time. So for the next month and a half, that's what I'm going to do. So, it's not going to be a traditional campaign. It's going to be grassroots. It's going to be knocking on doors, talking to people, and trying to get them to vote. That's the only chance I have of winning.
So, we're talking with you off the air. You have thought a lot about policies in the city. You've thought a lot about that. I can tell we talked quite a bit off the air. Talk a little bit about what you want to do when you get elected.
The big thing is these projects are happening. So you got the golf course, you got Hicks Logan, you got the waterfront, you got the wind. So there's a lot going on. You got the rail. So they're happening. So we don't need to really discuss whether they're going to be happening or not. We need someone that's going to be there, that's going to take leadership of it. It's going to be there to see opportunity that might have been missed, to be eyes and ears and see what's going on. And also, more importantly, to be able to adapt to any problems that occur. And, if everything's held back at a standstill because nobody knows what to do. So it's going to take real leadership.
So we're speaking with Robert Cabral. He's running in the special election for the Ward 3 City Council race. So, Robert, you do have some military background. Could you tell us about that a little bit?
Yes, actually, I was sworn in right down here on Sycamore Street. It looks like that building is getting a little bit of a facelift. I'm not sure.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's happening there, but they said that place was haunted. But
Tim says that. Yeah. Tim Weisberg. Yeah.
I mean, I remember some of the sergeants talking about a lot of the noises they heard when they were by themselves and things. So I don't know, but that's a beautiful building.
It is, sure.
But I was actually an officer in Fall River, the infantry unit that they had down there for a lot of years. I was an executive officer and a platoon leader, a weapons platoon leader. So it was interesting. It was peacetime,
right.
We were going to die in a nuclear war. They had a spot picked out for us in Germany, right in the Fulda Gap.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Did you get deployed over there at all?
Not in Germany. We did go to Fort Bragg, and
right.
We actually went to the National Training Center one year, so we played the enemy.
Right.
Yeah. So it was fun.
It's tough learning Russian though, too, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Right.
They let us dress as Russians though.
Yeah. So what do you think the military brings to the job of being city council? What do you think you know from the military that'll help you being a city councilor?
Well, I mean, of course, the military teaches you discipline. The military teaches you discipline. So you're focused, you're a leader, you're in charge, and a good leader is not one that says get going. A good leader is one that says let's go, right? So it depends what type of leader you are. Like everything else, there's good and bad ones out there.
So you're talking about the golf course, right? That's, I think, going to be the major issue in the campaign. It's something that there's been a lot of public forums. There's been a lot of public discussion. How are you going to be a steward for that project and for the continuation of that project and for the residents that are impacted by it?
Well, I mean, it's definitely some good numbers. $2.7 million in tax revenue, million square feet, $80 million worth of assessment, 1,000 jobs. So, I mean, it's all good, And when I talk to people, I mean, the people are concerned about traffic, Yeah. Traffic's a big issue. Traffic's going to be a big issue in Hicks Logan when that comes around. But I mean, I'm really concerned about the nuts and bolts of it. I haven't been able to find that much on it, so I don't know how much of it's public knowledge unless I'm looking in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
And then I just can't understand why 60 applications were taken out and not one bid came in. I mean, something's wrong with that, I mean, if I had a chance as a business owner to bid on a construction job like that, I'd be all over it. So I'm really more concerned about the nuts and bolts. And again, also, as this project takes place, again, the opportunities that might be missed, maybe there's another way of egress. I mean, there's a lot that you can look into if you got the eyes and the ability and the knowledge and the desire to look at it. And then the second thing would be dealing with problems as they arise.
So, Robert, you brought up something that I think has maybe been glossed over in the conversations we've had, is the fact that what are the problems that are keeping people from bidding on this job?
I can't figure it out.
Right?
I'd be
it's
all
amazing.
over it. Yeah. I would be all over it if I'm a businessman. I mean, they're not there to lose money, so there's got to be something in there that's saying, wait, we're not going to make any money on this, or some kind of requirement that's just not worth it.
Right.
It's got to be something. 60 applications, not one came back.
Yeah, it's been puzzling. I know Marcus and I have both, we've talked about it here.
Yeah.
It's puzzling. We don't know what it is. I understand they're in a bit of a retrench right now. They're trying to get some feedback from some of the bidders.
That's the first thing I've been doing. I've been calling a couple of them and say, what's the issue?
Right.
Talk to me. What's the problem? I mean, if this stuff isn't discussed and talked about, then there's not going to be any solutions.
So we're speaking with Robert Cabral. He's running in the special election for Ward 3 City Council. So you live in the Hicks-Logan area. Most of the candidates, I think, are in the Hathaway Road area, but you live in the Hicks-Logan area where actually Councilor Dunn lived. What are some of the issues in the Hicks-Logan area that you see as a resident there, and what do you propose that what are you proposing that will fix them?
I mean, Hicks-Logan, let's face it, it's an area of the city that's been neglected.
Yeah.
The streets are awful, it's horrible, but it's got so much potential.
Yeah.
As I look at the plan, and unfortunately the plan's been going on since 2008, so I'm a little concerned of why I haven't seen any shovels in the dirt yet, but that's something I could look into. But as I look at the plan and I drive down there, the business mind just kicks in. I think of so many things that could be done. I already have a little food truck area where we could put food trucks, and let them go down. I already got a little area in my mind where maybe put a little ice skating park. There's just so many things you could do down there. But you need somebody that's got that vision, got that ability to look at things and say, I'm not going to just take this plan and say this is it.
Right.
I'm going to look for opportunity in this plan. What can we do to make it better?
Well, so yeah, when I had Mayor Mitchell on a few weeks ago, he talked about some of the issues in Ward 3. He'd brought up how he and Dunn had worked on bringing back the redevelopment authority to work on Hicks-Logan. He called it the most distressed area. It
is
the most distressed neighborhood in the city. So, are you supportive of that ongoing project? Do you think there should be things done differently? What's your thoughts?
I think there should have been a lot more effort going into this project in the last, 12 years since that report came out.
Yeah.
So, it's not a priority to somebody, but I can guarantee you it's going to be a priority to me, and it's an important priority. We have a beautiful waterfront. That's a lot of space, and that's a lot of prime real estate, and it can be beautiful.
Yeah.
It's got plans for a marina. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the capacity is at the other marina, but I can tell you the other marina is pretty beat up and needs some work. So, there's a lot to do. I'm excited about it.
We're speaking with Robert Cabral, who's a candidate for Ward 3. And one of the things that you're passionate about is helping the homeless. And this is a very compassionate city, very compassionate area. The mayor will even ask people to stop donating to them when they're standing on the street corner, but they don't. They don't, because people feel bad for people who are homeless. They want to help them in the way that they can. You've got some ideas about helping the homeless, and I can tell you're passionate about it. Communicate to the audience a little bit about what your thoughts are on helping the homeless.
Well, I've been working in a nonprofit for almost the last year. And I just can't believe that they're throwing the people out of the homeless shelter at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning with all their gear. So then they're all complaining that they're downtown, hanging around downtown. So if we had a 24-hour wraparound shelter with services that are provided at the shelter. Another thing about downtown, people complain about them hanging downtown. But guess what? That's where all the services are. That's where the community center are.
That's what John Mitchell says. Yeah.
It's truth. It's fact. So if you don't want them downtown, don't kick them out of the shelter. Let's give them some services. Let's bring the services to the shelter. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. It's being done, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Another thing is if you look what they did in Mass and Cass last year in Boston, they put some of these pallet shelters up. People are like, oh, I don't want that in my area. They're not going to want it in your area. But guess what? These shelters, they're going to be secure. They usually have 100% security, so it's not going to be issue with crime and things of that nature. So it's going to be a place where people have security.
So just explain what a pallet shelter is for those of us who aren't aware of it.
It's like a little mini house, those mini homes. It's kind of like
the one my dog had in the backyard.
There you go. It's a 6x9 shelter with a bed.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You could put 2 beds in it, and they got a lock. They got heat. They got they got security. They can put their head on the bed at night, and So I spend a lot of time talking to people out there.
Okay.
And the number one thing is, they want to feel like they have security, even when they're in the open bay shelters. They're not secure. People are stealing their stuff. It's not a good environment sometimes.
Okay.
So at least in these shelters, they have their own space.
Now, where would you recommend, if anywhere, that they start to construct these?
I actually have so many good spots I've already picked out in the city. I mean, I'd put one right in Hicks Logan. I really would.
Okay.
You know, there's a great spot down there. And, you know, like I said, there'd be security. You could almost get a job agency involved and maybe dole people to some of the fishing places down there. I mean, you got to think out of the box.
I can remember my friend Jojo Forts, who was a Ward 4 city council for many years, talking about the fact there's no shower facilities and that there are movable showers. There are you can bring them to an area so that homeless people can shower, because, I mean, obviously, if you haven't showered in a couple days, it's not good. It's not a good situation,
well,
right?
I mean, at one point they had a program. I don't know who was paying for it, but they were allowed to go to the Y and get a free shower.
Right.
So that was a good program.
Sure.
I don't know why they got rid of that, you know, but I mean, you could get, I mean, I even heard there was a bathroom facility right at City Hall that somebody locked. You know, that right outside, with outside access, that somebody locked a few years back. And it's like, what?
That's interesting, right?
That's interesting.
I don't know if it's true, but I see a door. It looks like it could be a bathroom.
Yeah.
I see a door.
So why wouldn't you do that? Open it up. You don't want to clean it? What is it? You know, I mean, the cops can come check it out once, you know, every hour or whatever. I don't know. But, you know, those portable showers, $35,000, you get a shower, bathroom, and, you know, let the city sponsor that.
Right.
Anything's better than doing nothing.
So one of the you brought up the cops, so I'll bring it up. The one of the projects that Hugh Dunn and the rest of the council worked on was to secure the benefits, or attempt to secure the benefits, for the Cassidy family. Mm-hmm. Mike Cassidy, of course, was a good Marine.
Yep.
Died in the line of duty because of COVID, and he's not. You know, they weren't going to get the benefits, and now it's at the state level now.
Yeah, it's on Beacon Hill.
It's going to have someone pushing on it. Hugh Dunn successfully pushed on it through the city council with a number of other city councils, including Ian Abreu and the police and fire unions, and really it was a real, I think, a great effort by the city of New Bedford.
I agree.
Right, the elected officials. We're looking for someone who's going to continue that.
I'm all about that.
All right.
I mean,
we can't recruit police and fire and EMS if we're going to let them die without benefits.
I'm all about blue. I'm all about red. You know, I mean, they do an incredible job for us. I mean, it's like everything else in life. You know, you got the bell curve, right? You got 100 cops, you got 10 good ones, you got 80 decent ones, and you got 10 crappy ones. And it's like that with politicians, and it's like that with radio show personalities. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. So we need to support our guys,
right?
You know, and we need to, this is the problem I have. I always had my whole life is, you got to hold the bad ones accountable. And,
yes.
And that's where I have a problem, because sometimes they protect their own.
So as a city council, you're not just going to be handling Ward 3 issues. You're going to be voting on things for the entire city. You know, we talked about the effort to get Sergeant Cassidy's family the benefits that they deserve. But also, you're going to every year be voting on the budget. And there's going to be people like us in the media, and there's going to be your constituents and everybody from the city watching how you vote, how the city council votes, where they allocate, where they cut. Do any cuts or is there any areas in the city now, in the city government, that you see as areas that need to be cut or need to be appropriated with more money?
I really haven't looked at it that in depth, but I mean, we need to support our city workers. I mean, that's the bottom line. We have to stand behind them, and we also have to hold them accountable. You know, and as you know, I'm at the point in my life where I've had the good paying job. I mean, maybe I'm getting old. I'm trying to get into heaven. I don't know what it is, you know, but I just want to get back.
Politics is not the route, my friend.
I know, but I just want to get back. So, you know, I'm not going to be the kind of guy that, you know, nobody's going to be able to buy me. I'll tell you that right now. So if that's what they want, then they're with the wrong people. You know, I'm sincere, and I tell people, if I'm messing up, call me out on it. Call me out on it, because I'm not going to make everybody happy, but if my heart's in the right place and I'm doing what's right for the people, everything else falls into place.
So, Robert, we're speaking with Robert Cabral, who's a candidate for Ward 3. It's your first foray into politics.
Yep.
Sounds to me like you're enjoying it so far.
I really am.
Really?
I mean, I've been asked if you ran a campaign, and no, I've never run a political campaign, but I've run a million marketing campaigns in my life.
You're an infantry officer.
That's right.
Right.
So
how do people follow your campaign? How do they get more information about you?
I mean, right now, we have a Facebook page.
Okay.
So that's the main one. So it's Robert Cabral Ward 3 Facebook. Robert Cabral Ward 3 Facebook page, and my phone number's on there. I encourage people to call me 508-441-1248. Again, I will answer the call, and Mr. Bromley's going to come in a little bit, and he's going to be about the same thing. So, like I said, it's a great group of people, and I just want to see customers get involved, constituents.
I have, Marcus, I have been, and I think you have been too, impressed with the field of candidates that have come out
Absolutely,
so far.
for sure.
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You really don't know. And it's really, as you point out, it's all about the voters at this point.
And I think every candidate that's declared thus far has had very valuable professional life and life experiences.
Yes, yes. Now it's up to you folks at home to actually vote, right? To encourage them.
Exactly.
Because there's nothing worse than going out working your heart out. I mean, you've thought about these issues. Whether people agree with you or not, it's up to them.
Exactly.
But they can vote on election day. But you're putting your heart and your reputation on the line, and people ought to at least give you a shot.
Well,
right?
I mean, I'm about consensus. I was talking, I said to Phil the other day, he keeps saying it's a 50-50 government, and it is. So we vote for something, 50% of the people are happy, 50% of the people are sad.
Right.
And it's almost the same way in the city. It's always a 6-5 vote, 6-5 vote, 6-5 vote. Whatever happened to 7 and, 7-4, 8-3, 9-2? More people benefit that way. The best deals are the deals where nobody's really happy.
Right.
Right?
So do you think you'll be a consensus builder on the city council?
I will.
Okay.
I will. I mean, I have my thoughts, but I'm not one that likes to push my thoughts. It's not my thought that matters. It's everybody else's thought.
Is there any particular city councilor right now that you look to as someone you think's doing a really good job? But I'm not looking for you to bash anybody at all.
Yeah, no.
But it's just
I mean, if you want to, that'd be good for radio.
Marcus wants you to do that.
Yeah, I want you to do it.
But no, truthfully, as you watch the council,
I mean,
is there anybody you say who's a real guide star for you?
Well, I could tell you that me and Ian kind of got off to a bad start because I used the word "you" when I was talking about homeless, and I meant it plural, and I didn't mean it you.
Okay.
So but Ian's
so you don't get along with the council president?
I do. I mean, but I'm willing to work with him. I mean, personalities. I mean, but he's the name that I hear consistently that's doing what the customers want to hear. That he's the name. Call Ian. And let me tell you, the other guy is Shane Burgo.
Yeah, I like Shane.
Shane's a nice
I'll
guy.
be honest with you. I mean, he called me back. And he met me, and it was nice to sit down with someone that's actually doing it and talk about the job. So he is a good guy.
Yeah, he made housing a signature issue in his campaign and of his tenure as a city councilor. And he's really working hard on that too. So,
and we have different political views, but I guarantee you that we would work together real good.
So, Robert Cabral, candidate for Ward 3 City Council. Our time's just about up now, but I appreciate you coming in, sharing your platform, sharing your background with us, and we'll talk to you more as this campaign unfolds. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Real nice to meet you.
Yeah, really nice to meet you. All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
1420 WBSM.
Hey, welcome back.
I like that Robert Cabral.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Nice enough guy, right?
Hey, I do want to take a minute actually to thank some people. I had a few people text me today, like Will Sennott at the New Bedford Light, and everybody's getting their Spotify Wrapped, which is like basically if you listen to the Spotify, you can listen to South Coast Tonight on Spotify, but if you listen to music and podcast, it'll give you your top podcasts. Like your top 5 podcasts.
Okay.
And Will Sennott sent me his, and South Coast Night was number 1. And I appreciated that. And I had other people message me that South Coast Night was their number 1 listened to podcast as well. And
he does a very good job at the New Bedford
He does.
Light,
Yeah, we had him on to talk about his big column with ProPublica, his big report about the consolidation of the fishing industry, which was really fascinating.
That was a serious article.
Yeah, it was a serious article. So I really appreciate the support that that people have been showing for the podcast and the program. And you can listen to the podcast at any time. I try to upload them as soon as the hour's over, and so it's easy and accessible, especially if you miss stuff.
By the way, he's not just a host. He's a hell of a producer and marketer.
Yeah, I'm trying so hard. So,
no, but really, folks, I mean, his columns on WBSM.com are getting statewide attention. Marcus's columns, which means you're getting statewide attention. Because he's covering the stuff in our community, political stuff mostly.
Yeah.
Then they're big, like Politico, people like that,
Politico
picking it up and carrying it.
Yeah, so Politico and State House News Service ran a column of mine on their daily newsletter. We have, I've had Lisa Kaczynski on a bunch of times, both on my Saturday show, and she's been on with us before. And so she's been the Politico Playbook's such a great resource, and whenever I can get something on there, I'm really grateful for it.
And we've developed, obviously we've over the years we've developed a good relationship with Channel 12 as well. They'll be in and around with us as well.
Ted Nisi will be in studio with us in a couple weeks.
So what I'm saying, folks, is you at home who are our callers and our regular listeners, you're all part of it, obviously, as well. This community we're attempting to build here, right?
Yeah.
To try to get more of a spotlight on what's going on in South Coast.
Yeah.
For the rest of the state to see it as well.
Yeah. And and I think it's like I said, I think in the short time that we've been on the air in this time slot, we've really hit the mark on that so far. So there's a lot more to talk about. We've got some issues that are going on in towns, and during the election, I heard people say, "Hey, can you cover Fairhaven? Hey, can you cover Dartmouth?" And we're doing that now. I had Leon Corey on yesterday, and then we're going to have someone from the Dartmouth town government on hopefully next week to talk about the issue they got going on there.
So, Marcus, as people who live in the city might not realize, the towns are loaded with elections in the spring.
Yeah.
And they're really important stuff, right? Yeah. Really important stuff. And it's going to be very interesting. And sometimes they get really entertaining.
They do. I mean, especially in Fairhaven. Fairhaven for a while was front and center of a lot of like municipal, local town drama. Town elections can be pretty
vicious.
Nasty. Yeah,
vicious.
Pretty nasty. Getting involved in town politics, as you and I both know, being elected officials in town politics, you really learn a lot about, how things work and sort of how petty people can get.
So I remember once a New Bedford city councilor telling me that they were going to move to New Hampshire, where they had a summer house or a winter house, whatever you want to call it. Boy, they'd have fun up there in those small town politics. And I thought, I don't think you would.
Yeah, right.
I don't think you would at all.
No.
You might get shot.
Yeah.
But we're going to have plenty in the towns. We'll have more on Ward 3.
Yeah.
Again, as Marcus, I think, so correctly pointed out, just because you're running for Ward 3 doesn't mean you're only going to be voting on Ward 3 issues. You're going to have the whole city budget.
Yeah, so
the whole city budget.
Everybody, it's a vote on the city budget. It's a vote for Sergeant Cassidy's benefits. It's a vote for collective bargaining for public employees. It's a vote for the whole city. So that stuff's really Councilor Dunn chaired the ordinance committee, and that covers the whole city. Now Scott Lima, who's the Ward 5 councilor, I think is chairing the ordinance committee.
Right.
So your ward councilor is going to have say over matters that impact everybody. So if it's not your ward councilor that's on the ballot right now, I think it still behooves you to pay attention.
The other thing, Marcus, is that what we do know is that we got a nice field of candidates so far, but only one of them is going to get elected, right? So that'll leave 6 or so other candidates without a home, so to speak. We're not going to put them in a pallet shelter quite yet, but what we'll do is they may decide they want to run at large.
Yeah.
Right? Or that
happens a lot.
Right? They may decide that the special election was too special, too quick, so they're going to come back in the fall, for a real general. My point being, folks, is that just because they're running in Ward 3 for the special doesn't mean they're not going to be on your ballot maybe next year.
Right.
So, very, very interesting season.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you might see I'm hoping there's a lot more interest in the municipal elections. In Fairhaven, we're getting better turnout, I think, because of the recall and all of that. And I'm really happy about that. I mean, it's still like 20%, but 20% is pretty good. It's better than New Bedford.
It is, and it's I'm not a fan of recalls, but I mean, I think you're right, Marcus. It did certainly energize a population. It got people more interested in it.
Yeah.
Even if it's to say they never want to go through that
for
again.
For better or for worse.
Right.
I'm not necessarily a fan of recalls either.
No. Even if it's to say I never want to do that again.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Look at Fall River, for example. They're recalling people all the time.
Fall River, not the people, but the politics over there are an absolute disaster.
Yes.
If you have a recall, you never have an off year.
Yeah, right.
You never have an opportunity to govern.
Right.
Exhausting is the right word.
In a 2-year term.
Yes.
Right. I think Fall River, is it mayor 2 years?
And the people who like politics as sport, like gladiators, or fans at a gladiator match would be probably the better way to put it.
Sure.
That bloodthirstiness, it's really, I think, hurt Fall River in many, many ways.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we don't have that recall petition provision here.
No, yeah, I'm glad it doesn't exist in New Bedford as well, because you can get you just need a handful of cantankerous people to really With
social media, it doesn't take long.
Yeah, right, exactly. It doesn't take very long, and it doesn't take that many people to get one of those going in like Fall River and stuff. Hey, listen, we got to take a break, and then we'll be right back. This is South Coast Tonight with Chris McCarthy and Marcus Farrow.
Listen to us live anywhere in the world on the WBSM app.
To replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
At Shriners Hospitals for Children, there are a million reasons to share love. My buddy Caleb is one of them. This is his story.
Hi, I'm Caleb. I was born with brittle bone disease. I have broken my bones almost 200 times, and I have had 11 surgeries. But I didn't let that stop me.
There are a million reasons to share love, but you only need one. To learn how you can share love, visit loveshriners.org.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
One's on the left, the other on the right. But they're both ready to call it right down the middle. More of Marcus and Chris on South Coast Tonight, here on WBSM.
And welcome back to the show.
Fun you got on anything to say.
Marcus has nothing to say.
Just talk, please. No.
So we, I thought the first interview was very nice with Robert Cabral.
Yep.
We'll have Bob Bromley coming up next.
Yep. The 8 o'clock hour.
Of course, I think Bob's a fascinating guy. He has a museum and he has a parade.
Yeah.
How do you beat that? How do you beat that?
We've had a few of these candidates on. You can check out a couple of the columns I wrote on 2 of them already. Obviously, I'll write columns on the candidates that we had today. If you want to get just an overview of who they are, the what they're running on, and really fascinating race. It's getting to be, I think, a pretty robust field of candidates so far in this special election.
So, Marcus, as I was saying, after Robert left, I think it's an embarrassment of riches, really, so far with these candidates who are running.
Right.
I've been happy with every one of them that I've met. Maybe there'll be one I don't, but
probably.
But so far, everyone's been very decent, very well-meaning. I know some of them better than others, but unfortunately, there'll only be one winner. Out of that will be a bunch of other people who have the real political bug. Yeah. So do any of them stick around to run again? Do any of them stick around to maybe run at large next time around, Marcus?
Yeah.
I don't think that...
There are people in the at-large seats now that ran unsuccessfully for a ward seat, like Ian.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely, Marcus.
Yeah.
And so I think you folks who don't live in Ward 3 but live in New Bedford really ought to be paying attention to this, because while you're not going to have an opportunity to vote right away for these people, you very well likely have a chance to vote for them in the future.
Also have an opportunity, if you like any of these candidates and there's somebody that you want representing the city, not just the ward but the city, you can donate to them, right?
That's true.
You can volunteer for them if you want to, and they'll give you an opportunity to tell them where you can contact them if they want. I mean, we've had candidates, some of the statewide candidates on the show, and people have heard their story and were impressed and wanted to donate. And I know people that held signs for statewide candidates after they heard them here on South Coast, and I know people that have donated, people that pulled a certain party ballot just to vote for a particular candidate.
Yeah.
So it'll give you an opportunity to support these candidates if you want.
And as a policy of the show, Marcus and I always make sure we ask the candidates to repeat a couple of times how you at home can get in touch with them.
Yeah.
If you are interested. We hope you'll use that to be good, but you never know. But
probably not.
Probably not. Some of you out there.
And by the way, I see some app chat messages, and I'll get to them later. I just, we're kind of doing a thing here.
Right.
We're kind of doing a thing here, so I'll get to those. They're important questions that are being asked, and I will get to them later on in the program. Of course, we're always here till 10 o'clock. So Chris.
Yes, Marcus.
How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was nice.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite holidays.
It's my least favorite.
Is it?
Out of all the ones that I'm like, I guess, compelled to celebrate. It's
compelled. What do you mean? You're not compelled to celebrate Arbor Day, but you like it.
Yeah.
Scott Lang and I would always celebrate Arbor Day here on the radio, but yeah. I mean, I happen to like Thanksgiving and 4th of July. Those are my
4th of July is my favorite.
My big holidays.
4th of July is my favorite.
Christmas is obviously a beautiful holiday because of the birth of Christ and all that good stuff. But seems to me that Thanksgiving is real cut and dry. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, it's true.
I failed at cooking a long time ago. And so I take that role seriously. I just eat.
What I do like about Thanksgiving is the football.
Football's fantastic.
I went to the Fairhaven Dartmouth game, which... Because I went to Stang, but the Thanksgiving game is Fian. They're all the way in Attleboro, so I just go to the Fairhaven Dartmouth game. And
although Attleboro got a lot closer to us this year,
it sure did. Yeah, I read the Sun Chronicle all the time now. I went to the Fairhaven Dartmouth game, which was excellent, and I enjoyed seeing Dartmouth lose, as I always do. And then I just watched football all day from noon to midnight, basically, because of the Pats game and all of that. So, hey, why don't let's take a break now.
Yes.
And then we'll be right back.
All right.
Hey, welcome back. We're just closing out. I was going to let you continue that conversation.
It's always more interesting off the air.
Yeah, it is. We're here with Bob Bromley. He's going to be joining us in the 8 o'clock hour after the news break. And that's that's pretty much it, you know.
So, Marcus, I really enjoyed your interview with our new sheriff, Paul Heroux. You know, I was with Tom. I've been friends with Tom for a long, long time, and I'll still be friends with Tom. But I did think that Sheriff Heroux is getting off on the right note, saying, look, I'm not going to toss out institutional knowledge. We're going to see what changes should be made, what changes maybe shouldn't be made. I thought it was a very good message.
I thought it was really good, and I appreciated that he wanted to come here to give that message out. He thought it was important to do. I spoke with him off the air a little bit. He goes, yeah, I just hope and he said to me, like, I hope I put some people at ease that I'm not going to come in and just, you know, upset the apple cart.
Right.
Basically. So, it was a very good interview, and there was a lot of people.
But also, if you're not going to go along with the man's program, then you should leave. He doesn't have to say it. I'll say it for you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not going to go along, he's the sheriff now.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in his program,
you should
you
go.
don't deserve the work there.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think they'll probably, you know, he expects movement. There'll definitely be some movement. But there were people that worked at the sheriff's office that called in. There were people or spouses of people at the sheriff's office that called in. There were people that worked at the sheriff's office that messaged us on the app chat, and then I've gotten messages from people that worked there afterwards thanking me for having him on and having that forum. But yeah, I agree. I think there'll be some people that, you know, won't be getting.
Look, I already know of one or two people who said, it's not for me, I'm moving, right?
Yes.
Fine. That's actually